Hello everyone, and welcome back to another Anime Vanguards video. Today I'm giving you all a showcase of all 3 new Mythic banner units from Update 8.0. The reason I'm grouping them all into one video is simply because all of them have really short explanations, and it doesn't really feel right if I just pump out 3 separate videos, considering they'd all be really short. For this video, in the bottom left corner, I'm going to have the name of the unit as well as include timestamps right here so you can skip to a specific unit showcase that you want. Anyway, let's get right into the showcases. So the first unit I'm going to be showcasing here is the Skeleton King right here. So we're going to go ahead and start the match right here and place him down. Now he actually has some pretty decent stats and a medium circle AoE. Actually, it's more on the smaller side, but I would consider that more medium than anything. But we're going to upgrade him a little bit, and then he gets a half circle AoE right here, which you're going to see the VFX for any second now. Now you upgrade him again, and then he gets a larger circle AoE. I would actually say this is more on the larger side of the medium circle AoEs. But then we're going to upgrade him again, and then he gets a full AoE attack with some pretty good damage right here and a decent cooldown. But we're going to go ahead and go into his passives. So the first passive says that debuffs instead will buff this unit by the same amount, and debuffs applied to this unit cannot be cleansed. And this unit's also immune to being branded by Griffith, so that's also pretty good. But what this passive means is that this guy is basically anti-energy drain meta right here. So if we go ahead and spawn in some enemies that have energy drain right here, we're going to spawn in a bunch of these guys, and he is not going to be affected by it. Instead, he'll actually get a buff from it, which makes him even better. So overall, he's actually really good. This also applies to like range debuffs as well. So if we spawn in a if I can find it, the Colossal Titan, because he reduces range. Oh boy, where is he? Hold on. There he is. So if we spawn in a bunch of these guys right here, he's actually going to have his range increased, I think. There we go. He gets a 50% increase in range right here, making his range and damage really good. Now, do note you're probably only going to get one of these if you do use Skeleton King. You're probably only going to get one of these buffs. Now, this also isn't preventing him from getting buffed further, by the way, because I can still place down, like, just to be simple here, like a Subaru, and we'll just upgrade him all the way. This guy can still get buffed further. It's just that essentially debuffs will buff him. Now, it's actually a good thing we place down a secondary unit, because Skeleton King's second passive says that if a unit on the map is inflicted with a status effect or debuff, this unit will teleport to their location and cleanse them of the status effect or debuff after a 3-second delay with a 15-second cooldown. So this guy can also move. So hold on, actually hold on. We'll just like place down another unit back here, remove Subaru for a second, and we're going to spawn in an enemy that has, let's just do a ton of health, and we'll set like exploding on this guy, for example. Just make it simple. A lot of speed, and I forgot about giving him extra health, so he just got instantly annihilated. Hold on, there we go. Now he's going to speed past over here. Let's just upgrade this guy a little bit just so he has more range. So we're going to... Oh, wait, no, I forgot. Exploding only works if it dies. I'm an idiot. Okay, maybe this time I lowered his speed. Now, please don't get hit by that attack, and he's going to get hit. Now we're going to see Skeleton King teleport all the way over here the second that Gogeta gets stunned from killing this guy. There we go. See, Skeleton King spawned next to him, and if the stun wasn't more than 2 seconds... then he would have cleansed the stun, but this was just purely to show you how he will move whenever a unit is stunned, even if it's all the way across the map. The second unit we're going to be showcasing is the Witch unit right here, who is a 4 placement, and I would actually say that she's an okay support. So she actually doesn't do a whole lot of damage, and we're just gonna fully upgrade her. We're not gonna bother showing off the VFX, but she is a full AoE support. Now, yet again, she does not have that good of damage or cooldown at all, but her passives are pretty okay. The first passive says that this unit will always get a positive element boost in any game mode, which currently is really just portals and stuff like that, but that one isn't necessarily that amazing on its own, because even then, she's still gonna have, like, mid DPS. The second passive is where all the support is, in which her attacks will inflict Nullify for 10 seconds on hit. Now, this next part isn't very useful at all, but if an ally is stunned, their damage will be boosted by 50% for the duration of the stun. Now, note, that does not mean after the stun, that means during the stun, which that's why I say I don't really find that many uses for it, because the only one I can think of is Guts' bleed damage while he's stunned, but there's no other unit that really attacks while they're stunned, making that 50% boost completely and utterly useless. But yeah, this one was actually very short because there's really not much to show about the witch. So the last unit that we're going to be showcasing in this video is the Smith unit, who is by far one of the most diverse and meta supports in this entire game. So we're going to go ahead and read his passives because he does no damage at all. The first passive says that for every takedown that occurs, he gets 1 ore stack, which you can see above his range stat right here. This unit has access to different shops depending on the upgrade. This unit can then craft and apply a weapon to any ally, overriding any weapon that was already on that ally. Now you're going to see how this all works very soon, but the second passive says that for every 3 silver weapons crafted, this unit can then craft 1 masterwork item for free. So as it said in the passives, we need takedowns, so we gotta place down some other units and start the waves over here. So let's just go ahead and do that real quick. So I'm actually gonna skip some waves over here just to get some ore stacks really quick, which you're gonna see that jump up any second now. The second they attack, actually, there we go. Let me actually go place down a third one real quick. But okay, so first, the Forge, which is his first ability right here. You can go into here and you can use ore stacks to craft different weapons that apply different buffs. Now, the Silver Sword increases damage by 25%. You can see a 25% boost right here, which you can see right here is nearly 20,000. Yeah, 20,000 more damage on this guy than on a King Apostle without a sword. If we go back to the Forge and craft a Silver Spear, we can increase the range of any of these units by 20%. Now, do note, only 1 weapon can be on 1 unit at a time, so if I try to put that spear on this guy right here, then his damage buff would disappear and be replaced by the range buff. And then the last one is a Silver Dagger, which reduces SBA by 10%, so you're going to go ahead and see the difference in SBA right there. Overall, pretty decent, especially if you're looking at the range buff from the spear right here. It's nearly 10 more range, which is really good. Now, as stated in the passives, due to crafting 3 of these silver weapons, we can craft 1 of these masterwork weapons for free. So only 1 of these can exist at a time, meaning, like, if I go to the silver weapons, if I wanted to, I can craft another sword and give it to this guy, and now there are 2 silver swords that exist. If I go and try to do that with a masterwork, then 1 of the masterworks will be deleted in exchange for another being placed. The masterwork weapons are essentially buffed versions of the silver weapons, and they have different effects and stuff on them. So the Dragon Slayer will increase damage by 40%, and increase damage dealt by damage over time is by 20%. So this would go really good with Guts, but for example, we're going to go ahead and place it on this guy, so he would get a 40% damage increase and a 20% damage over time increase. And he has 5 of these masterworks, so the second one, the Salamander Dagger, will increase range by 20% and increase damage dealt to burning enemies by 20%, so overall also really good for burning units such as Escanor. The third one, the Dragon's Great Shield, will make an ally immune to status effects, so how this really works is, like, if I place down this unit right here, who clearly does not have any kind of, like, stun resistance, for example, any kind of stun immunity, which is considered a status effect, and I craft a Dragon's Great Shield, I can place it on this, and now this unit right here is now immune to status effects, like stun. The next one is also very self-explanatory. The Berserker Armor makes an ally immune to debuffs entirely, which is really good for maps like the Dragon Ball Z map or the AOT maps that have enemies that will decrease your attack and range. And then the 5th and final masterwork is the Sword of Occultation, which will reduce SBA by 10% and increase damage by 20%. So it's kind of just a buffed up dagger that has slightly less damage buffs than the Silver Sword. Regardless, definitely a good weapon right here for units that, like, where you want lower SBA, but you also want extra damage. Anyway, guys, that's all for the showcases. Before we end the video, I'm giving you a joke as always, since I enjoy making some of y'all laugh. Where do bad rainbows go? Prism. Thankfully, though, it's just a light sentence. Anyway, again, good luck on the grind. I will see you guys next video. Average Xfire out.
My name is Average